Juwu didn't go to school the next day. She couldn't face the normal world when her own life had turned so strange. She stayed at the safe house with Sujin, while Taehyun went to school to keep watch. More will come, Sujin said as she checked strange devices around the house. Minho was just the first. How will they find me? Juwu asked. You give off a special energy. Those who know what to look for can sense it. Sujin handed Juwu a small silver bracelet. This will hide your energy, but only for a while. Juwu put it on, feeling a slight tingle on her skin. How many others know about this? About me? There are 12 of us on Earth. We were all part of your guard on Wan. Juwu tried to wrap her mind around having a guard. And my parents. I mean, the people I live with. Hannah and Jun were chosen carefully. They lost their real daughter years ago and wanted to help. The news hit Juwu hard. So even that part of my life is a lie. They care for you, Sujin said softly. That part is real. That afternoon, Taehyun returned with news. There's a new math teacher at school, he said, his face grim. And 2 new students. They're not even trying to hide what they are. What do you mean? Juwu asked. Their disguises are poor. Their eyes change color when they're emotional. One of them has skin that glows when he gets angry. The students are noticing, Sujin said. Taehyun nodded. They think it's weird contact lenses or some skin condition. Humans always find a way to explain the unexplainable. They're getting bolder, Sujin said. We need to move Juwu. Move me where? Juwu asked. We have a more secure location outside the city, Taehyun explained. We didn't want to take you there right away because it might trigger too many memories too fast. I want to remember, Juwu said. I need to understand who I was, who I am. Sujin looked worried. The memories will be painful. You saw things on Wan that no child should see. Tell me, Juwu demanded. Sujin sighed. The Wanis took thousands of humans over the centuries. Children were favorites because they adapted better to Wan's environment. You were kept in the palace. Others were not so lucky. They were treated like animals, Taehyun added, his voice hard. Kept in cages, used for work, for entertainment. A flash of memory hit Juwu. Dark rooms filled with crying children, adults working in fields under a purple sky, and worst of all, arenas where humans fought each other while Wanis watched and cheered. I saw it all, Juwu whispered. I was one of the lucky ones, kept in the palace like a pet. But I saw the others. I helped them. Taehyun nodded. You smuggled food to the work camps. You helped people escape. And then you did more. Before Juwu could ask what more meant, a high-pitched sound filled the room. The devices Sujin had placed around the house were flashing red. They've found us, Sujin said, rushing to a cabinet and pulling out what looked like weapons. She threw one to Taehyun. We need to go. Now. Juwu looked out the window and gasped. Walking up the road were 5 figures. From a distance, they looked human. But their walk was too perfect, too smooth. And even from here, she could see the silver glow of their skin. Are they all like Minho? She asked. Worse, Taehyun said, checking his weapon. These are royal guards. They won't try to take you back alive. Sujin grabbed a bag and thrust it at Juwu. There's a car in the garage. We need to reach it before they surround the house. As they moved toward the back door, one of the windows exploded inward. A tall, silver figure stood there, eyes glowing red. It looked at Juwu and smiled. Hello, little revolutionary, it said in a voice like metal scraping. The prince sends his regards. Sujin fired her weapon. The blue light shot out, hitting the figure in the chest. It stumbled back, but didn't fall. Run, Taehyun shouted, pushing Juwu toward the door. As they ran, more windows broke. More silver figures entered the house. Juwu felt something inside her snap again, like a door opening in her mind. She stopped running. Juwu, come on, Taehyun yelled. But Juwu turned to face the pursuers, her eyes beginning to glow with golden light. "My name," she said in a voice that didn't sound like her own, "is Yuna." That night, Juwoo woke up screaming. Her mother rushed into her room, worry clear on her face. "Another bad dream?" her mother asked, sitting on the edge of the bed. Juwoo nodded, her heart still racing. "They're getting worse." Her mother felt her forehead. "No fever. Should we see Dr. Kim again?" "No," Juwoo said quickly. The last doctor had wanted to put her on medicine that made her feel foggy. "I'm fine. Really." But she wasn't fine. The dreams were changing. Before, they had been quick flashes that faded when she woke up. Now they stayed with her, sharp and clear in her mind. In this dream, she had been standing in front of a crowd. Tall, silver-skinned beings knelt before her. She held a strange weapon that glowed with blue light, and she had given orders in a language she didn't know but understood completely. The next morning, Juwoo dragged herself to school. Her head hurt and her nose had bled twice during breakfast. She kept tissues in her pocket, ready for the next one. "You look awful," Taehyun said when she sat next to him in science class. "Thanks," she said with a small smile. Just what every girl wants to hear. Before he could answer, Mr. Park cleared his throat. "Class, we have a new student joining us today," he said. "Please welcome Minho Lee." Juwoo looked up as a boy walked into the room. He was tall with perfect posture. His clothes were simple but looked expensive, but it was his eyes that made Juwoo freeze. They were dark, almost black, but for a split second, she thought she saw them flash silver. "Minho, you can take the empty seat at the back," Mr. Park said. As Minho walked past her desk, time seemed to slow down. He turned his head slightly, looking straight at Juwoo. A sharp pain hit her between the eyes. Images flooded her mind. A crystal palace burning. People running and screaming. Minho standing in royal clothes, his face twisted with hate. "Juwoo, are you okay?" Taehyun's voice sounded far away. She blinked and realized everyone was staring at her. Her nose was bleeding again, red drops staining her notebook. "I need to go to the bathroom," she mumbled, grabbing her bag and rushing out. In the quiet of the bathroom, Juwoo pressed cold paper towels to her nose and tried to calm down. The pain in her head was getting worse. She looked in the mirror and gasped. For a second, her eyes had looked different. Not brown, but bright gold with flecks of blue. When she returned to class, she felt Minho watching her. She kept her head down, trying to ignore him. At lunch, Juwoo sat with Taehyun at their usual table. "That new kid is strange," Taehyun said, glancing across the cafeteria where Minho sat alone. "I feel like I know him," Juwoo said, "but that's impossible. Maybe you met him before and forgot." Juwoo shook her head. "Not like that. It's like..." She stopped, not sure how to explain. "In my dreams, there's someone who looks like him. But he's not human." Taehyun looked concerned. "Juwoo, maybe you should talk to someone about these dreams." "They're just dreams," she said, but her voice lacked conviction. Across the room, Minho stood up and walked toward them. Juwoo tensed, her body ready to run or fight. "Mind if I join you?" he asked, his voice smooth and perfect. Before either could answer, Do-yeon appeared. "Making friends with the weirdos already," Do-yeon said to Minho. "There are better people to hang out with." Minho turned to look at Do-yeon. His smile was cold. "I choose my own company." Something in his tone made Do-yeon step back. "Whatever. Your loss." He walked away, glancing back nervously. Minho sat down across from Juwoo. "So, Juwoo Kim, how have you been enjoying your time on Earth?" The question made no sense, but it sent a chill down her spine. "What do you mean?" she asked. "My mistake," Minho said, still smiling. "I meant your time at this school." Their eyes met across the table. Another flash of pain hit Juwoo, stronger than before. The cafeteria spun around her. She saw Minho's face change, his skin taking on a silver glow, his eyes turning completely black. Jiwoo stood up too quickly. The room tilted. She felt herself falling as darkness closed in. The last thing she saw was Minho's smile as she collapsed to the floor. Yuna stood before a large table in an underground room. Maps and plans were spread across it. Around her stood the leaders of the resistance, both human and Wanese. They had been hiding in this bunker since the Loyalists took the palace 3 months ago. "The Royal Guard controls the main city areas," said Quan, pointing to different spots on the map. "They have weapons that can stop most attacks. But they don't expect us to attack the palace directly," added a tall Wanese woman named Neri. "They think we are too weak, too scattered." Yuna studied the maps. In the 2 days since her return, more memories had come back. She remembered the palace, its halls and secret passages. She had lived there as a child, first as a pet of the royal family, then as their prisoner, and finally as their conqueror. "The prince is in control now?" she asked. Taehyun nodded. "Prince Hyunki, the king's son. He was off-world when you led the revolution. He returned with loyal soldiers a year later." Yuna remembered Hyunki. He had been cruel even for a royal. He had treated human children like toys to be broken. "He knows I'm back," she said. "Minho will have told him." "Yes," Sujin agreed. "They will be expecting us. But not how soon." "We attack tomorrow," Yuna said. "At dawn, when the third moon sets." The leaders looked surprised. "So soon?" Quan asked. "We're not ready." "They're not ready either," Yuna said. "And we have something they don't expect." "What's that?" asked Nari. Yuna smiled. "Me." That night, Yuna couldn't sleep. She stood on a balcony overlooking the hidden part of the city where humans and friendly Guanis lived. Lights glowed in windows. People moved in the streets. Life went on, even in war. Taehyun joined her. "Nervous about tomorrow?" "Yes," she admitted. "What if I'm not the leader they remember? What if I fail?" "Do you know why you succeeded the first time?" Taehyun asked. "It wasn't just courage or cleverness. It was because you saw both humans and Wanese as people. You didn't hate all Wanese for what some did. That's why many Wanese joined your side." Yuna thought about this. "On Earth, I was always an outsider, never fitting in. Maybe that helped me see things differently here." "Your human perspective changed, Juan," Taehyun said. "Don't lose that." Dawn came. 300 fighters, human and Wanese, gathered at the edge of the city. They wore simple armor and carried weapons that shot blue energy. Yuna stood at the front, wearing a suit of silver armor over her black clothes. "The plan is simple," she told them. "The main force creates a distraction at the front gates. A small team including me enters through the forgotten tunnels beneath the palace. We capture Prince Hyunki." "And if we can't capture him?" someone asked. Yuna's face hardened. "Then we do what we must. But I want him alive if possible." They moved through the empty streets as the third moon set. The palace rose before them, its crystal towers catching the light of the rising sun. Guards patrolled the walls. Energy shields glowed around the main gates. The main force attacked the gates. Weapons fired. Alarms sounded. Guards rushed to defend the entrance. Meanwhile, Yuna led her small team, Taehyun, Sujin, Nari, and 5 others, to a hidden entrance behind an old statue. A panel slid open, revealing a dark tunnel. "I used to hide in these tunnels as a child," Yuna said. "The royals never knew about them." They moved quickly through the darkness. The tunnels led them deep under the palace and up into a storage room. From there, they made their way to the throne room. 2 guards stood outside the large doors. Yuna stepped forward, her hands glowing with blue energy. Before the guards could react, she sent out a wave of force that knocked them unconscious. "No killing unless necessary," she reminded her team. They pushed open the doors. Inside, Prince Hyunki sat on the crystal throne. He was tall and elegant, his silver skin glowing brightly. His eyes widened when he saw Yuna. "The human pet returns," he said, standing. "Come to play rebel again." "It's over, Hyunki," Yuna said. "Your guards are fighting a losing battle at the gates. The palace is surrounded." Hyunki laughed. "You think I fear you? A human child who got lucky once." "Not luck," Yuna said, stepping closer. "Determination. Something you royals never understood about humans. We don't give up." Hyunki's hand moved to a weapon at his side, but Yuna was faster. She sent a burst of energy that knocked the weapon away. "You see," Hyunki sneered. "Violence. That's all humans know." "No," Yuna said. "We know mercy too." She nodded to her team. They moved forward to take Hyunki prisoner. "This isn't over," the prince hissed as they bound his hands. "You're right," Yuna said. "It's just beginning." Word of Prince Hyunki's capture spread quickly through the city. By noon, most of the royal guards had laid down their weapons. The revolution had won again, and this time with very little bloodshed. Yuna stood on the palace balcony, looking out over the crystal city. People gathered in the streets below, humans and Wanis together, cheering her name. "What now, Realm Breaker?" Sujin asked, joining her on the balcony. "Now comes the hard part," Yuna said, "building something that lasts." For the next week, Yuna met with leaders from all parts of Hwan society. She listened to humans who had lived on Hwan for generations. She heard from Hwanis who wanted change, and those who feared it. She even spoke with Hyunki in his cell. "You could have killed me," the prince said. "Why didn't you?" "Because that's what you would have done," Yuna replied. "And I'm trying to build a different kind of world." On the 8th day, Yuna called a meeting of all the leaders in the grand hall of the palace. Hundreds came, filling the room with a mix of human and Wanis faces. "I've been offered the throne," she told them, "but I won't take it." Murmurs of surprise spread through the crowd. The problem with Hwan was never just the royal family, Yuna continued. It was the idea that one person or one group should have all the power. That has to end. She presented her plan, a council with members from all parts of society. Humans and Hwanis would have equal voices. No one group could make decisions for all. "And who will lead this council?" someone asked. "It will lead itself," Yuna said, "with members chosen by their communities, not by birth or wealth or power." Some objected. Change was hard, especially for the Wanis who had lived one way for thousands of years. But most saw the wisdom in Yuna's plan. "And what about you?" Quan asked. "Will you stay to help us build this new system?" Yuna had thought long about this question. "I will stay until the council is working well. Then I need to go home." "Earth is your home now?" Nari asked, surprised. "Both worlds are my home," Yuna said. "Just as I am both Juwu and Yuna. I won't forget either part of myself again." 3 months later, Yuna stood before another portal. The council was in place and working well. Humans were returning to their lives, no longer as pets or workers, but as equals. Even some of the former royalists had accepted the new way, seeing that it brought peace. "You don't have to go," Taeyun said. He had decided to stay on Hwan to help the new government. "Yes, I do," Yuna said. "There are humans on Earth who need to come home. And I have unfinished business there." Sujin handed her the silver bracelet that would hide her energy again. "Will you be Juwu again?" "No," Yuna said, putting on the bracelet. "But I won't be just Yuna either. I'll be both." She stepped through the portal. The familiar pull and stretch, and then she was back on Earth, in the barn where her journey had begun. 2 weeks later, Juwu walked through the doors of Hankook High School. Students turned to stare. She had been gone for months, and rumors had spread about where she had been. She walked differently now. Head high, steps sure. Her eyes still scanned rooms from habit, but she wasn't afraid anymore. In the cafeteria, she sat at her usual table. Do-hyun and his friends approached. "Look who's back," Do-hyun said with a smirk. "The weirdo." Did you run away to join the circus or something? Juwoo looked up at him and smiled. It wasn't an angry smile or a sad one. It was the calm smile of someone who knew exactly who she was. "Hello, Dohyun," she said. "No, not a circus. Just had some family business to take care of." "What kind of business makes you miss half a school year?" he asked. "The important kind," she said. "The kind that changes worlds." Dohyun rolled his eyes and walked away, but something in Juwoo's voice had made him uncomfortable. She wasn't the same scared girl he had once mocked. Later that day, a new student joined their class, a tall boy with dark eyes who introduced himself as Jin. Only Juwoo noticed the slight silver glow of his skin when he stood in the sunlight. He sat next to her and passed her a note. "The council sends regards," it read. "Both worlds are at peace. Your legacy lives on, Realmbreaker." Juwoo smiled and tucked the note away. She was just a high school student again, one that few people noticed or understood. But she knew the truth that her classmates never would. The quiet girl they dismissed had overthrown a realm and changed the fate of two worlds. And if she ever needed to do it again, she would. The door to the roof burst open. Taehyun stood there, out of breath. "Get away from her," he shouted at Minho. Minho got to his feet, his face now fully changed. His skin had a silver glow. His eyes were completely black with no white parts. He looked human-like, but not human at all. "This doesn't concern you," Minho said. "It does when you try to take my charge," Taehyun said. He turned to Juwoo. "We need to go. Now." Juwoo stood frozen, looking from Taehyun to Minho. "You know about this?" she asked Taehyun. "There's no time. More are coming." Taehyun grabbed her hand and pulled her toward the door. "You can't run forever, Yuna." Minho called after them. "Want needs you." Taehyun led Juwoo down the stairs, through a back exit, and into the parking lot where a black car waited. A woman with short hair sat in the driver's seat. "Get in," Taehyun said, opening the back door. "Not until you tell me what's going on," Juwoo said, pulling her hand away. "We're the ones who brought you back to Earth," Taehyun said. "We're here to protect you." A sound like thunder cracked above them. They looked up to see a bright light forming over the observatory roof. "They're opening a portal," the woman in the car said. "We need to move." This time, Juwoo didn't argue. She got into the car. Taehyun jumped in beside her, and they sped away just as 3 more silver-skinned figures appeared on the roof. The car took them to a small house on the edge of town. Inside, the rooms were simple but filled with strange objects that glowed and hummed. "Sit," the woman said, pointing to a couch. "I'm Sujin. I've been watching over you from a distance." "Watching me? Why?" Juwoo asked. "Because you're important," Taehyun said, sitting across from her. "More important than you know." Minho said, "I'm not human. That I'm someone named Yuna." Sujin and Taehyun shared a look. "You were born human," Sujin said, "a normal girl from Earth, but you were taken, along with others." "Taken where?" "To Wan," Taehyun said. "It's not a planet, exactly. More like another realm that exists alongside ours. The Hwanis discovered Earth hundreds of years ago. They found humans. Interesting. Like pets," Sujin added, her voice hard. "Or toys." Juwoo felt sick. "And I was taken there." "When you were 7, Taehyun said, your parents reported you missing. The police never found you." "Those aren't my real parents," Juwoo asked, thinking of the kind couple who had raised her. "They're protectors, like us," Sujin said. "They agreed to help." Juwoo's head was spinning again. "So what happened to me in this Wan place?" "At first, you were just another human child in the collection of the royal family," Taehyun said. "But you were different. You watched. You learned their language, their ways. You saw how they treated humans. And I did something about it." Juwoo asked, remembering her dreams of battle. "You did more than something," Sujin said with a small smile. "You led a rebellion. You organized the humans kept there. You found allies among the Wangids who didn't agree with the royal family. You overthrew their king, Taehyun added. You broke a system that had existed for thousands of years. Ju shook her head. That's impossible. I'm just a girl. You were never just a girl, Sujin said. The Hwanis didn't understand humans. They thought we were simple, weak. They didn't see our strength, our ability to adapt, to fight back. After the king fell, you helped form a new government, Taehyun continued. One where humans had a voice, but not everyone was happy. There were still those loyal to the old ways. They tried to kill you, Sujin said. That's when we decided to bring you back to Earth. We wiped your memories and gave you a new life, a safe life, until things settled on Hwan. But they haven't settled, have they? Ju asked, understanding now. That's why Minho is here. The new government is falling apart, Taehyun said. Both sides want you back. The revolutionaries need their leader, and the loyalists want to make an example of you. Ju stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the sky was growing dark. It looked so normal, so peaceful. Just yesterday, her biggest worry had been Do-hyun's teasing. Now she learned that she had once led a revolution in another world. How do I know you're telling the truth? She asked. Sujin pulled out a small device and placed it on the table. A beam of light shot up, forming a three-dimensional image of a girl who looked like a younger Ju. She stood on a platform addressing a crowd of both humans and silver-skinned Hwanis. The girl's eyes glowed with golden light. Because you're already starting to remember, Sujin said. Aren't you, Yuna? Ju Kim walked through the doors of Hankook High School with her head down. It was her third week as the new girl, but it felt like her first day all over again. The wide hallway was packed with students, their voices bouncing off the lockers in a loud mess of sound. Ju did not walk like other girls. Her eyes moved from side to side, checking every corner, every face. She held her backpack straps with tight fingers, ready to run at any moment. She did not know why she felt this way. It was just how she was. Look, it's the weirdo, the voice said. Ju did not need to turn around. She knew it was Do-hyun, the most popular boy in the junior class. His words were like small cuts that never healed. I heard she slept with her eyes open during math class. A girl named Yuna added with a laugh. Who does that? Ju wanted to tell them she had been awake, just lost in strange pictures in her mind. Pictures of silver beings and glass towers that felt too real to be made up. But she kept walking. Explaining would only make things worse. In science class, Ju sat in her usual spot next to Taehyun. He was the only person who didn't look at her like she was broken. Bad morning? He asked, his voice soft. Same as always, she said, pulling out her notebook. Their teacher, Mr. Park, began talking about stars and planets. Ju tried to focus, but her mind kept slipping away. The words on the board blurred as a flash of memory hit her. A sky with 3 moons, a room with walls that changed color with her mood. Ju, are you still with us? Mr. Park's voice broke through her thoughts. She sat up straight. The class was staring at her. I asked what planet has the most moons in our solar system, Mr. Park said, his eyebrows raised. Jupiter, she answered quickly. It has at least 79 moons. That's correct, Mr. Park said, looking surprised. Do-hyun rolled his eyes. Teacher's pet, he whispered loud enough for others to hear. At lunch, Ju sat alone at the end of a long table. She picked at her food without much interest. The strange dreams from last night had taken away her hunger. In the dream, she had been running through halls made of some kind of clear stone, chased by tall beings with skin that glowed in the dark. Can I sit here? Ju looked up to see Taehyun standing with his lunch tray. Sure, she said, moving her backpack. You seemed far away in class, he said, opening his milk carton. Another dream. Ju nodded. Taehyun was the only one she had told about the dreams. They're getting clearer. Last night, I was in some kind of palace. There were beings that weren't human. Sounds cool, Taehyun said. Like a sci-fi movie. But it feels real, Taehyun. Like I've been there before. Before he could answer, Do-hyun and his friends walked by. There she goes again, talking about her alien friends, Do-hyun said. My little sister has imaginary friends too, but she's 6. His friends laughed. One of them knocked Juwoo's water bottle off the table. It hit the floor with a loud crack, water spilling everywhere. In a flash, Juwoo was on her feet, her hand catching the boy's wrist in a tight grip. Her move was so fast, so unlike a normal teenager that everyone froze. Even Juwoo seemed shocked by what she had done. How did you move so fast? The boy asked, trying to pull his arm away. Juwoo let go, her face hot with confusion. I don't know. She grabbed her bag and ran out of the cafeteria, ignoring Taehyun calling her name. She ran until she reached the empty music room. Her heart was beating too fast. Her hands shook as she touched her face, feeling like a stranger in her own skin. What's happening to me? She whispered to the empty room. Somewhere in the back of her mind, a voice seemed to answer. Asterisk, you are remembering who you are, asterisk. Juwoo closed her eyes, trying to push away the voice. But the pictures came anyway. A silver sword in her hand, a crowd cheering her name. Not Juwoo, but another name. A name that felt both foreign and somehow right. Yume. Juwoo woke up in the school nurse's office. The white ceiling spun above her. Her mouth felt dry. You're awake, the nurse said, helping her sit up. How do you feel? My head hurts, Juwoo said. What happened? You fainted in the cafeteria. Your friend Taehyun brought you here. Juwoo looked around. Taehyun sat in a chair by the door, his face tight with worry. But Minho was nowhere to be seen. Did you eat breakfast this morning? The nurse asked. Yes, Juwoo said, but she knew food wasn't the problem. It was the strange memories flooding back, the ones that couldn't possibly be hers. The nurse made Juwoo rest for an hour before letting her return to class. By then, everyone had heard about her collapse. As she walked down the hall, students whispered and pointed. First she acts weird, now she's falling apart, someone said. Juwoo kept her head high. She was getting used to their words. 2 days later, Juwoo's science class was going on a field trip to the city observatory. She sat alone on the bus, staring out the window. She hadn't seen Minho since the day she fainted. Part of her was relieved. Part of her had more questions than ever. At the observatory, Mr. Park split the class into groups. Somehow, Juwoo ended up with Do-hyun and 2 of his friends. They made it clear they didn't want her there. Try not to pass out again, freak, Do-hyun said as they followed the tour guide. As the guide talked about stars and planets, Juwoo felt a strange pull. It was like something was calling her. She looked up at the domed ceiling with its map of stars and felt dizzy again. One cluster of stars seemed to glow brighter than the rest. I know that place, she whispered. What did you say? Do-hyun asked. Nothing, Juwoo said quickly. As the tour continued, the pulling feeling got stronger. When the guide wasn't looking, Juwoo slipped away from her group. She found a small door marked Staff Only and, without thinking, opened it. Inside was a narrow staircase leading up. Juwoo climbed the stairs, her heart beating fast. She didn't know why she was doing this, only that she had to. The stairs led to a small door that opened onto the observatory's roof. The cool air hit her face as she stepped outside. The roof was flat with a railing around the edge, and standing by that railing, looking up at the sky, was Minho. I knew you would come, he said without turning around. How? Juwoo asked, her voice shaking. Because you feel it. The pull of home. Now he turned to face her. Hello, Yume. That name again, the one from her dreams. My name is Juwoo, she said. That's the name they gave you. to keep you safe, to keep you hidden. Minho took a step toward her. But it's time to remember who you really are. I don't understand. Asterisk Kelna vor Yuna. Kelna vor mana rek asterisk. The words came out of Minho's mouth in a language Juwu had never heard. But she understood them perfectly. Asterisk come home, Yuna. Come home to your people asterisk. How do I know what you're saying? She asked, backing away. Because it's your language. The language of Wan. Minho's eyes began to change, the dark brown fading to reveal silver underneath, like a mask being removed. You are not human, Yuna. At least, not anymore. You're crazy, Juwu said, but deep inside, something was breaking open. The human girl called Juwu was created to protect you, a shell to hide the real you. But we need you now. Wan is falling apart without its rightful leader. Leader? Juwu shook her head. I'm 17. I'm nobody. You overthrew the royal family. You led the revolution. You changed our world. Minho's skin began to shimmer with a soft silver light. And then you disappeared. Juwu's head was spinning again, but this time, she fought to stay conscious. More memories were surfacing. A throne room, a battle, her hands glowing with blue energy. I'm here to take you back, Minho said, reaching for her arm. The moment his fingers touched her skin, something inside Juwu snapped. Her body moved on its own. She grabbed his wrist, twisted, and flipped him onto his back with a strength she didn't know she had. Minho looked up at her, a smile spreading across his now alien face. There you are, Yuna, he said. Welcome back. Juwu's, no, Yuna's, hands began to glow with blue light, the same light she had seen in her dreams. She raised her arms, and a wave of energy burst from her hands. The force knocked the silver beings back through the broken windows. How did you do that? Taehyun asked, his eyes wide. Yuna looked at her hands, the blue glow already fading. I don't know. I just knew. Your powers are returning, Sujin said, but we still need to leave. More will come. They ran to the garage and got into a black car. Sujin drove fast, away from the city and into the countryside. No one spoke. Yuma's mind was racing, trying to make sense of the flood of memories that kept coming back. The secure location turned out to be an old farm with a large barn. Inside the barn, hidden under the floor, was a metal room filled with technology that didn't look like it came from Earth. This was our first base when we arrived, Taehyun explained. We built it to look like Earth technology in case humans found it. Yuna sat on a small bed, feeling tired in a way sleep couldn't fix. Her whole life had been turned upside down in just a few days. I still don't understand, she said. If I was so important on Wan, why bring me back to Earth at all? Why not keep me there to help the new government? Sujin and Taehyun looked at each other. The assassination attempts were getting too close, Sujin said. And you were just a child. Even if you had done incredible things, we thought you deserved a chance at a normal life. But now they need me back, Yuna said. Taehyun nodded. The message we received last week was clear. The revolution is falling apart. The old royal family supporters have been gaining power again. They're saying all the problems on Wan started when humans were given equal rights. How many humans are still there? Yuma asked. Thousands, Sujin said. Many chose to stay after the revolution. They had been on Wan for generations. Some had never even seen Earth. Yuna thought about this. People she had helped, people who had followed her, were now in danger. But what could she do? She was just a high school student, or was she? I need time to think, she said. That night, Yuna couldn't sleep. She sat outside, looking up at the stars. She knew now that Wan wasn't a planet in this universe. It was a realm that existed alongside Earth, like a bubble touching another bubble. The Hwanis had found a way to travel between the realms centuries ago. She thought about her life as Juwu, the parent who had cared for her, knowing she wasn't really their daughter. the classmates who had laughed at her for being different. Do-hyun, who had no idea the girl he bullied had once overthrown a king. And she thought about Hwan, the humans still there who had fought for their freedom, the good Hwanis who had helped the revolution. Were they suffering now? Had her disappearance doomed them? Taehyun came outside and sat beside her. "Have you decided?" he asked. "How can I decide? I'm not the person they need. I'm not Yuna anymore. I'm just Juu." "Are you?" Taehyun asked. "The way you fought back at the house, that wasn't Juu. That was Yuna. I don't know how to lead a revolution. I don't even know how to fit in at school." "You didn't know the first time either," Taehyun said with a small smile. "But you learned." Yuna looked down at her hands, remembering the blue light. "If I go back, I might die." "Yes," Taehyun said honestly. "But if you stay, others will definitely die." As the sun began to rise, Yuna stood up. Her mind was clear now. She knew what she had to do. "How do we get to Hwan?" she asked. Taehyun's face showed relief. "We've kept a portal device hidden, but using it will alert the Hwains to our location. Then we'll have to be ready for a fight," Yuna said. For the first time since learning the truth, she felt sure of herself. Not Juu, the awkward high school girl, but not fully Yuna the revolutionary leader either. Someone new, someone stronger. "I'm going back," she said. "Not because I have to, but because it's right." Taehyun nodded. "I'll tell the others to prepare." As he walked away, Yuna looked once more at the morning sky. Her life as a normal girl was over, but maybe it had never been real in the first place. By evening, 11 people had gathered at the farm. They were Yuna's former guards, her protectors on Earth. Some had been watching her from a distance. Others had been in other cities, guarding portals between Earth and Hwan. "We've sent a message ahead," Sujin told Yuna. "Your allies on Hwan know you're coming back." Yuna nodded. She wore clothes they had given her. A simple black outfit that looked normal, but was made from a material that would stop most weapons. Around her wrist, she still wore the silver bracelet that hid her energy. "You'll need to take that off when we arrive," Taehyun said, pointing to the bracelet. "Let them sense your power. It will give hope to your followers and alert your enemies." Sujin added. The portal device was set up in the middle of the barn. It didn't look like much, just a metal ring on a stand. But when Sujin turned it on, the air inside the ring began to shimmer and swirl. "Portals are unstable," she explained. "We'll only have a few minutes to get everyone through." 4 guards went first, weapons ready. Then it was Yuna's turn. "Ready?" Taehyun asked, standing beside her. Yuna took a deep breath. "No, but I'm going anyway." Together, they stepped into the swirling air. The world stretched and bent around them. Yuna felt like she was being pulled in all directions at once, and then it stopped. They were standing in a forest, but not like any forest on Earth. The trees were tall and thin with silver bark. Their leaves glowed with a soft blue light. Above them, a purple sky held 3 moons of different sizes. "Hwan," Yuna whispered. It felt both strange and familiar, like a place visited in a dream. More guards came through the portal behind them. Last came Sujin, who quickly turned off the device. The portal collapsed with a sound like thunder. "We need to move," she said. "That sound will attract attention." They began walking through the forest. Yuna looked around in wonder. Small creatures that looked like glowing butterflies floated between the trees. The ground beneath her feet had a slight spring to it, like walking on moss. "It's coming back to me," she said. "I remember this place. The Forest of Lights. It's the safest entry point," Taehyun explained. "The royal forces don't watch it as closely." After an hour of walking, they reached the edge of the forest. Yuna gasped at what she saw. A vast city spread out below them. Buildings made of crystal and silver rose into the sky. But many of the towers were broken. Some were still smoking from fires. The beautiful city from her dreams was now damaged and dark. What happened? She asked. Civil war, Sujin said grimly. It started about a year after you left. The royal family supporters against the new government you helped create. All this destruction. Yuna felt sick. This is why we need you, Tae-yun said. Both sides respect you, even the ones who hate you. You could end this. They made their way down to the city. As they walked through the streets, Yuna saw both humans and Wanis. The humans looked tired but determined. The Wanis were divided. Some had skin that glowed silver like Minho. Others had chosen to dull their glow in solidarity with humans. People began to notice their group. Eyes widened in recognition. Take off the bracelet, Tae-yun whispered. Yuna hesitated, then removed the silver band from her wrist. Immediately, she felt a change. Energy flowed through her body, making her skin tingle. Her eyes began to glow golden. A whisper moved through the crowd that had gathered. Yuna has returned. An old human man stepped forward, his eyes filled with tears. Is it really you? After all this time? Memories flooded back. This man had helped her plan the rebellion. He had been a leader in the human work camps. Hello, Quan, she said, the name coming to her from somewhere deep in her mind. The old man fell to his knees. Others followed, both humans and Wanis. What are they doing? Yuna whispered to Tae-yun. Showing respect to their leader, he answered. To the one who gave them hope. A young Wani stepped forward, her silver skin dimmed to show support for humans. The loyalists have taken the palace. The council you created is in hiding. Will you help us, Yuma the Realm Breaker? Yuna looked around at the faces turned toward her, hopeful, desperate, trusting. They believed in her, not Chuu, the girl no one noticed, but Yuna, the human who had changed their world. Yes, she said, her voice stronger than she expected. I will help you. We will finish what we started. A cheer went up from the crowd, echoing through the damaged streets of the once beautiful city. Yuna the Realm Breaker had returned.